The American Jewish Committee's Community of Conscience proudly brings you the following special program, made possible through the generosity of H.E.B., Garcia Hamilton and Associates, the Houston Chronicle, KPRC2, and many others. Celebrating what unites us. This is America's Table.
Well, we've had this enormous privilege of tracking for 40 years the remarkable changes in Houston. This was a biracial southern city dominated and controlled in an automatic, taken for granted way by white men throughout all of its history. And then the oil bust. And after 1982, the Anglo population of Harris County stopped growing. And all the growth of this, the most rapidly growing city in America, has been the influx of African Americans, Latinos, and Asians. And this biracial southern city dominated by white men has become, by some measures, the single most ethnically diverse major metropolitan area in the country. We are where all of America will be as the 21st century unfolds. We're there first. How we navigate this transition will have enormous significance, not only for the Houston future, but for the Texas and the American future as well. We are called on to build something that has never existed before in human history. A truly successful, inclusive, equitable, united, multi-ethnic society made up of all the peoples, all the ethnicities, all the religions of the world, gathered together in this one remarkable place. This is where, for better or worse, the American future is going to be worked out.
Good evening. The purpose of America's Table at Thanksgiving, presented by American Jewish Committee's Community of Conscience, is to celebrate our unity and diversity as a nation created by immigrants of all faiths searching for a better life. As the iconic Stephen Kleinberg noted, we are America's most diverse city. The challenges we face today and how we address them will provide the blueprint for the rest of America. American Jewish Committee's Community of Conscience, comprised of the city's faith and ethnic leadership, was created 5 years ago this Thanksgiving. Since that time, they have worked with the city to produce PSAs against hate, met with our police and fire chiefs to discuss diversity in the ranks, hosted town hall meetings to understand Black history in Houston, the Asian community, the Latino community, and anti-Semitism. The common agenda is our shared values and that we are all in this together. Tonight's program includes an opportunity to see and to learn more about this city, its people, its neighborhoods, where we reside, to create an ever more just America that's secure and free, abundant and caring for all her inhabitants. AJC created America's Table shortly after the terrorist attacks of September 11th, 2001, to bring America together. With 25 regional offices and 14 offices overseas, AJC's mission is to enhance the well-being of the Jewish people and Israel, and to advance human rights and democratic values in the United States and around the world. More than 2 decades after 9/11, Americans continue to return to the table, yet wounded and weary from political arguments, mass murders, and a rise in racism that targets Asians, Blacks, Jews, Latinos, and Muslims, as well as other age-old hatreds renewed. But we also return to the table grateful for life, grateful for each other, and grateful for the democracy and freedoms it bestows, even when those freedoms seem to interfere with our collective pursuit of happiness. Tonight, we will visit the diverse neighborhoods of Denver Harbor, Koreatown, the Nigerian community, and the Afghani community. You'll also meet Houstonians who represent different backgrounds and cultures. And throughout the program this evening, you have the opportunity to support AJC's Community of Conscience and its endeavors. Text AJCHOU to 20222. Now we'd like to take you to Denver Harbor. Just east of Minute Maid Park, the area was first settled by immigrants coming in from Galveston who were from Poland, Germany, and Czechoslovakia. By the 1930s, those communities had moved on. The Latino community had moved in. The initial Mexican-American community is still present, with newcomers from Central America comprising part of the neighborhood.
Back in 1970, 72, I was working for Houston Fire Department, and we bought a house here in Denver Harbor. And my neighbors, well, the whole neighborhood was German. All my neighbors were German, and they're very good neighbors. I mean, cleaned up their yards and socialized, and very good neighbors. And then we noticed that they started moving out. I can't remember what year, but you know, then the Hispanic movement came in.
I was raised in Utah, and in 1967, my dad came down here to open a body and paint shop with my uncle. And if you can see the building, the steel beams, this used to be a body and paint shop. And we've seen the change in the 70s. The whites did the white flight, and it's replaced with more Mexican Americans. And that went on for about 20 years. And then about 20 years now, it's been Central American people. Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador. They're the ones that have moved into the neighborhood.
Well, you know, Denver Harbor is flooded with trains. We got the Port of Houston down the street, and that brought a lot of, you know, workers to our neighborhood, and predominantly all Hispanic. The Hispanic movement came in, and you know, right now it's 80-90% Hispanic, the community of Denver Harbor right now. It's a close-knit neighborhood. Families get along. We you know, we lacked a lot of city services, but they still stay around. It's like it's home. It's home for a lot of Hispanic people here.
It's a great place to live. It's a nice community. We have a beautiful park. We have strong little leagues, good elementary schools. All the elementary schools in this neighborhood are excellent. It's when they get into junior high and high school when we start having troubles. Now they're talking about closing Wheatley and closing McReynolds. That would affect this neighborhood tremendously. Where are the kids going to go? They're going to have to drive 30 minutes or have somebody take them or take a bus. It's going to make it difficult.
There's a lot of moms and pops that are still around the neighborhood, but their sons and daughters are moving back to our neighborhood, to Denver Harbor, taking care of mom and living in with them, buying property in Denver Harbor. Denver Harbor right now is picking up. It's, you know, it's a booming neighborhood. You know, you can't see it, but it is booming.
I was going to be a forest ranger. I graduated from North Texas, and I got hired to go to Mammoth Cave, Kentucky, and I was going to be a forest ranger there. But I had a 3-month gap between the time I graduated and the time I was supposed to show up in Kentucky. And my dad had just opened a little store, and my mom was selling tacos, and I looked at it and I said, you know, this can be a pretty good little place to be. And if you drive down Lyons Avenue, you'll see 5 or 6 little places, and those are just hard-working people that get up every morning and go and cook for the neighborhood, basically. One interesting thing here is you don't see a new TV store or a new computer store. Everything is repair your tires, used cars, that kind of thing. Repair. We don't buy new, we repair in this neighborhood.
We got a 20-acre Salina Denver Harbor Park just down the street from Portland. We've got around $6 to $7 million allocated to the park. The park is going to be redone. I mean, it's going to be a beautiful park. It's almost going to be like a county park. We got new rides, new bike trails, new LED lights. We need that park. We need it for our kids and our special need kids and our seniors. They don't have nothing to do around here. And with a park, bike trail, swimming pool, it'd be great.
Sure, we have our crime problems, and we don't have gangs anymore than we used to. So it's getting a lot safer and a lot better here. But now the threat is gentrification.
You know, we want to keep our neighborhood. You know, what happened in Second Ward, we don't want what happened in Second Ward to happen here in Denver Harbor.
We're happy to say we've created jobs here and we've contributed to the neighborhood the best we can. I wasn't much of an activist till about 5 or 6 years ago when the developers were trying to change neighborhood. I'm so proud of this. If you go from McReynolds all the way down to Martinez Elementary, You'll notice no townhouses, no multifamily places, because we did Chapter 42. And we got 58% of the people in Denver Harbor, property owners, to support the Chapter 42. The Chapter 42 limits development to single-family residents. So a developer doesn't want to come in here because he wants to put 8 families on the lot. And Chapter 42 keeps us single family. That keeps the integrity of the neighborhood intact, and we're real proud of that accomplishment.
As we share immigrant stories and how these individuals or their families came to America, there's one specific theme that runs throughout every story. They overcame challenges and found opportunities that would lead them to become part of the fabric that is Houston. Ira Mintzner is a first-generation American. His father survived the Warsaw Ghetto in World War II and years in a Soviet gulag before arriving in the United States with $17 in his pocket. As you will hear, his father's immigrant experience is part of who Ira is and his way of life as a thriving Houston business leader.
My father, David Mintzner, arrived on the shores of America on his 34th birthday, April 11th, 1949. His family had been a very close-knit family in Warsaw, Poland prior to World War II. And of course, for all the Jews of Europe, his family being no different, the war completely upended their life and their family. He survived in the Soviet gulag for over 7 years as a prisoner of war, and his dad was killed during World War II. His mom, my grandmother, passed away in the Majdanek concentration camp. So not only did my father come here as an immigrant with $17, but, you know, having gone through a decade of true hell. But what was most interesting about David Mintzner was that he always looked forward. As tough as those experiences were, he always looked forward and looked at America as a wonderful way to restart his life. My father never forgot how welcoming the United States was. He came here with $17. He had some family members who had emigrated before the war to the United States. And he saw that America was different. It wasn't like England, a place based on status, but it was a place based on what one could accomplish and what one could partner with another person to achieve. And so my dad needed to buy the latest manufacturing equipment for his growing hosiery business. And he went into the Fidelity manufacturing company that was manufacturing the equipment. And he said to the gentleman, I need to order these production machines. And the gentleman said, well, some of the largest companies in America have already put in their orders and they're in front of you. My father said to the gentleman, I came to this country and not knowing the language, and I'm trying to take care of my family and trying to achieve the American dream. Can you help me out? And he said, let me see what I can do. And he took a few machines off of some of these other gigantic orders and said, Mr. Mintzner, let me go ahead and get you that production. And that started my dad in his own business and in all his further achievements. He never forgot that. Even when we build projects today, my father always used to say to me, and it's still in my head, all these years later, we were in business almost 40 years together, Ira, if you find an underprivileged or an immigrant business person, try to make sure they're capable, but if they are, try to give them that opportunity, because someone in 1949 or 53 gave me that same opportunity, and he never forgot it. And of the tens of thousands of jobs that he created and his company created, we always thought about, let's try to find that disadvantaged or that immigrant or someone who didn't come from an Ivy League background, and see if we can help them, because that's what America did for him. This hotel opened in December 26th of 2016, so he passed in the middle of 16, so he didn't get to see the opening, but I remember taking him on the elevator hoist, taking him up to the 29th floor, and showing him the vision, the lazy river in the shape of the state of Texas, the ballrooms, everything that, because we had a vision which was to add to what already was downtown here and help transform the footprint, not just for the Super Bowl, but for the years beyond. And together with Discovery Green, Hilton, Houston First Corporation, and all our great partners down here, and of course the city of Houston, we've done this in other cities, and we saw this was something exciting. And when I remember, he was 100 years old, and I laid out the vision of what this would, we felt, transform the city, there was so much pride in him. And it was, you know, being successful is nice, but the pride of an immigrant coming from so far to, we had created, I think, 5,000 construction jobs for this hotel, close to 1,000 permanent jobs, and the pride he had in all the positive nature of this last project was something that'll always be with the family and with me personally.
And now a special message from our partners, whose generosity helps make America's Table possible.
During this holiday season, every table in the community looks different. And here at HEB, we want to be there for everyone, so you can create the family table and the memories that work for you.
Tradition is everything, and we make sure to bring that tradition to your table. At HEB, celebrating the holidays, that's a major deal. And we're gonna make sure to bring the food that make your culture feel comfortable. So all you need to do is just ask, and we'll make sure it's gonna happen for you.
Keeping it authentic, keeping it traditional is our goal. We are from the community, we're part of the community, and we're always gonna be back to the community. That's what HEB is all about. And guess what? Our customers love it.
We are the #1 diverse community in the United States. And I am a true believer that food is what unify everyone, that bring everyone together.
The great thing about HEB is you can find it all here. We have something for every table. Whatever it is, we're here for you, and we want to be part of your table. From our HEB family to you, we wish you the happiest of holidays.
Pat Mann Phillips is the first woman chair of Rodeo Houston in its 91-year history. Yet Pat is not a token appointment. Since 2002, she's invested 21 years of volunteer service on a multitude of rodeo committees. Pat shares how her family immigrated from Germany in the late 1800s to become proud Texas farmers and ranchers.
The Mann side of our family came from Germany, and probably the late 1800s. We believe they came in through Galveston, and they settled in an area called Hemming, which is north of Gainesville, Texas. And they were farmers and ranchers. They were farmers and ranchers in Germany, and they came to Texas and settled. And for my whole life, and my parents, we knew them as farmers and ranchers. I was in the oil and gas business, or I still am, in the energy business. And Houston is the energy capital of the world. So if you're in the energy business, you'll be in Houston at some point. And I came to Houston with my husband in about 2000, a little bit before the turn of the century. We've made Houston our home. We still have the family ranches and farms up in Johnson County and then up in northern Texas, but we also have a place in Waller area where we keep our horses. So We're still in the country when we can be. My roots are in agriculture, and what better way to get back to my roots than coming to the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo and volunteering. We've been here for over 20 years participating and volunteering in the show. And the way the show works is you can join the show, you can be a member, and you can also be a member and volunteer. And the show has over 35,000 volunteers serving on 110 different, very unique committees that support the operations of the show. So when my husband and I joined, we started volunteering in 2002, and we joined the Directions and Assistance Committee. My husband joined the host committee and helped direct visitors around the park, and I became a tour guide in Ag Venture. When people ask me how you move up in the show, well, it's based on your interest, number one. If you share the mission for the show, then the show will invest in you as well and give you the opportunity to serve in greater areas of responsibility. So the show rewards individuals based on performance, your service, your tenure of service, and the contributions you make to the show. When I started with the rodeo back in 2001, the volunteer workforce was smaller and primarily male-dominated volunteer workforce. And 20 years later, fast forward to today, the volunteer workforce has pretty much doubled in size, and the ladies slightly outnumber the gentlemen now. So it's been an organic process that's part of our great succession plan, that these ladies are advancing in leadership, and they've taken on more roles and responsibilities, those that are interested, because it is quite a commitment. And I will tell you, it's exciting to see. The Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, we host visitors from all over the world. We're bringing in over 2.4 million visitors to the Livestock Show and Rodeo. We do everything bigger here in Texas, and we think we do it better. And the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo is the largest and livestock show and rodeo in the world. The economic impact that we have is a huge boost to the economy of Houston. You know, my goal as chairman of the board, of course, is I want to build on the great foundation and the great reputation that the visionary leaders before me have built. And you know, I just want to continue that great tradition, and we learn and improve with every life cycle of the show. So as the demographics of Houston change, you know, we are trying to up our game every year to improve and provide the best customer experience that we can to our visitors.
During the American withdrawal from Afghanistan, airlifts of Afghanis from the Kabul airport were seen on television screens and social media around the globe. Houston and San Diego are the top cities in America to resettle Afghani refugees. Yet the refugees who escaped the new Taliban rule have adapted and made Houston their home.
There is a lot of Afghan community here, in particularly in Houston Hills, when 2021 the Afghan governments collapsed. So most of them are migrated to in Texas, and particularly in Houston.
Some states, they have like kind of discrimination with refugees on that time when we came, but Houston had an open door to all immigrants from different cultures, from different countries. There was no, like, they treat us like I am a US citizen, like helped us to find a job, help us to support our family.
It's easy to be cultural with our community, and especially the area we are living in. So we have a huge population of Afghan community and some Central Asian community.
Here you don't feel like you are far from your culture. You can meet Afghan community, you can meet Pakistani community, you can meet Indian community. Easily, it paves the way that you reintegrate to the Western culture, and you don't feel it like it's like a kind of suddenly you change.
I used to work for U.S. Marine Corps in Afghanistan back in 2011. I was an interpreter, so I got wounded and I wounded in action when we were on the foot patrol, so I hit by an IED. And later the U.S. Marine Corps helped me, and then I had my SIV case, and they brought me here. So I and my wife, we came here in 2014.
My experience with the United States, I came in 2013. I migrated from the Afghanistan to Texas, and I would just say a few words to all Afghans, and particularly the new evacuees. America is the land of opportunities. I came to the United States with nothing, and praise the Lord, alhamdulillah, and I graduated from the school, from the UFH. Right now I'm doing my master in the Liberty University, the national security, and owns a couple of businesses. So if you work hard and focus on what you're doing, and you set the goals, and if you don't set the goals, you're not going to achieve them. So when you set the goals, you will be able to achieve them. It's definitely a land of opportunity, and people are very helpful here.
Life in the beginning was difficult in Houston, like coming to a new country, new culture, everything was different, a new society. And then I didn't lose hope, so I continued my education here. So I got into the community college, and then to the university. So I got my bachelor in finance, and now I'm doing my master's in the national security.
When I came first time, those caseworkers, those like let's say resettlement agencies helped me to become what I am today, and now I do the same thing for them. I have like an open door, and always I encourage my friends, my colleagues, what we received, we have to give it back, and we have to help the way they helped us. Since I came to the United States, like in the beginning, I was working for others. When I learned how to manage businesses, I opened up my own businesses. I'm like almost 8 years in business, and we have provided the opportunity for my Afghans. Like we have hired about 25 to 30 Afghans, and they are working. Like we have 2 grocery shops, we have a restaurant, then we have security companies. We are proud that we provide these services to our Afghan community.
When 2021, when Houston hit with hundreds of Afghan families, Afghan Houston community were united and collected more than $2 million worth of supplies that were distributed to Afghan refugees. Most of them are living in southeast area, like southwest and southeast of Houston's, where most of the resettlement agency have contract with their apartment complexes. They place them here. So again, one of the most inspiration thing in the Houston community is that the Houston local Afghan community that established are very united among themselves.
The stuff they used to where they used to like and back in the country, we try to get them the same thing for them to pick it easy or buy it here easily.
I can grow here. I can like help my family. We have family back in Afghanistan. I can help them there.
For my kids, pretend if I was in Afghanistan, so my kids will grow up and they won't get a proper education and not in a proper society. So thank God that I'm in Houston and my kids are here. They're growing up here and they're getting education. So that's all like I wanted. So it's a dream come true for me.
The American Jewish Committee's Community of Conscience wishes to thank our partners who make America's Table possible. HEB, Garcia Hamilton and Associates, the Houston Chronicle, and KPRC2.
This is Gilbert Ange Garcia of Garcia Hamilton Associates. We're a leading money manager in Houston, But we're much more than that. As a diverse firm, we always give back, whether we're sponsoring a food drive on the East End with Representatives Christina Morales and Marianne Pettis, or working with HEB and Pastor Max Miller of the Baptist Ministers Association of Houston, or supporting our great friends tonight at the American Jewish Committee. When there's a need, we're proud to answer the call.
The American Jewish Committee's Community of Conscience was founded with 9 principles. Join us in the spirit of the American motto E Pluribus Unum as we unite across difference, celebrate our diversity, contribute to a shared society, and resolve to advance the welfare of all. Join us in the spirit of patriotism as we strive boldly and proudly to uphold American ideals of equality and dignity, of opportunity for all. Join us in the spirit of civility as we reject anti-Semitism and all forms of bigotry, incendiary partisanship, whatever its sources, dehumanizing and demonizing rhetoric and threats of violence. Join us in the spirit of democracy as we reaffirm and reinforce our constitutional system, seek equal justice for all, and safeguard our fundamental freedoms. Join us in the spirit of pluralism as we promote mutual respect, not mere tolerance as the standard for enlightened coexistence. Join us in the spirit of inclusiveness as we reach out to and uplift the poorest among us, as we welcome the stranger in our midst, and as we fully enfranchise the differently abled. Join us in the spirit of love as we counter those who purvey hate, intolerance, and incivility, especially those who legitimize their inappropriate practices based on Holy Writ. Join us in seeking to fulfill the biblical teaching that we are all Betzelem Elohim, all created in the divine image, the very foundation of human equality. And join us in pursuing the prophet Isaiah's age-old vision that one day nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore, that peace, love, and unity will reign. With nearly 200,000 Nigerians in the greater Houston area, the community has established its roots in Southwest Houston and in the Sugar Land area. Arriving from Nigeria, many are working in the medical and energy fields. Between churches and social life, the community has built its own gathering places.
I grew up in Nigeria, and my journey to Houston started with a career move. I came with my husband and 3 children at that time, and met a thriving Nigerian community in Houston.
There are a lot of Nigerians who were planning to come after the Civil War, looking for where to go. And the rumor then was that the fees at TSU was one of the lowest in the country. So people who were trying to study or studying elsewhere, particularly in the Northeast, say, wow, my little amount of money will go a long way coming to Texas.
In the 70s and 80s, there was mostly people came here, we want to get an education. The migration pattern kind of changed. When we got to the 90s and the 2000s, oil and gas became a pool. Houston is said to be the energy capital of the world, and oil and gas is Nigeria's main source of revenue. Most of the oil majors have offices in Nigeria. And just like I came, a lot of people, the oil companies send their staff for training, they send their staff on projects, they stay back, raise their families. The educational institution was deteriorating in Nigeria at that time, and many people saw it as a good opportunity for their children to have a good education, so they stayed back. In that process, they also brought other family members, you know.
I have 3 boys. You probably have heard the Nigerian joke. Your children have to be a doctor, lawyer, or engineers. I have 2 engineers. So, and a third one in the making. But education is important to us, and it's big in our family. We push our children because we were pushed, and we pushed our children. We want them to succeed. and to have the opportunity that this country, especially Houston, has given us.
I tried to apply to Houston Northwest Medical Center. Come to find out that I was the first black doctor to apply for privileges there. And it wasn't easy. Nobody wanted me. They created a condition that made it almost impossible for me to apply. But I'm glad to say that things have changed a whole lot now. Things have changed a whole lot. I don't know any hospital now in this city that does not have Nigerians on staff as doctors or nurses or paramedical. So that is, for me, that is very encouraging, and that's progress.
Another thing we have done is entrepreneurship. Texas is business friendly, and you do find a lot of people having small businesses, opening up their own practice, their own emergency rooms, a lot of restaurants and grocery stores. We have Finger Licking, we have Wazobia, we have Aso Rock.
We have wonderful restaurants. One of the oldest I can remember was Finger Licking. I lived in the southeast part of town, used to, and we would drive at 2 a.m. in the morning to Finger Licking to watch World Cup and eat breakfast, and the time zone difference. And you were surprised how full the parking lot would be at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning.
We are also very different with our faith. We are predominantly Muslim in the north, Christian in the south. Exactly the same thing you'll find here in Houston.
The religion plays a major role in our community, and some of the churches that you have here in Houston now started back in Nigeria, and they've just come over to Houston and opened up a branch.
Now we have different ethnic groups, which is also part of our diversity. And Houston our community is a reflective of these different ethnic groups.
The three major ethnic groups in Nigeria are the Igbos, the Yorubas, and the Hausas up north. But there is still a larger population of what they call the minority groups that the ethics fall under. And you have the Benins, you have the Robos, you have and the list goes on and on and on. But that's part of the dynamic of the Nigerian community. So when it's all said and done, we still look at each other as a Nigerian.
We all meet, even I always joke that every village has an association whereby they meet. We call them also hometown groups. They meet monthly, they support each other. There's a place for them. It's social in the social well-being of the individual. They support one another. They help point newcomers in the right direction on the lay of the land. And also they are also focused on how do we help the people back home.
And that's how our community functions. We share information, we help one another. You know, as soon as you walk into a place, we kind of would have that chemistry. And how can I help you? How can I help you get what you need done? We throw away the ethnic differences, and the Nigerian thing takes over. And I've had a conversation with people from other African countries, and they've said, the thing I like most about you guys is what I hate most about you. I go, what's that thing? You always look out for a Nigerian first.
After 224 appearances, Olympic gold and bronze medals, and a certifiable claim as one of the most talented players of her generation, Sophie Schmidt retired from the Canadian national women's soccer team. Now a player for the Dash, Sophie shares why she's proud to call Houston home.
So I was born in Canada, but my parents and my older brother, they were born in Paraguay. They were born and raised in Paraguay, South America, and they moved to Canada when they were teenagers. As a soccer player, it's always good to be wanted. Houston wanted me, and this is an amazing soccer culture to play in. I mean, look at the stadium. It's absolutely perfect. As a club, you know, we're building. It's so exciting to be a part of that as a player, to kind of you know, build the club in a direction of success. I've been all over the world, played against numerous of countries, seen many soccer fields, had many experiences abroad, loved every second of it, and I feel like Houston is a mini world in and of its own. One, the cuisine, the food culture here is insane. Anything you want from anywhere, I'm sure you can find it somewhere, and it's fantastic. And then just the people, there's so much diversity here, different backgrounds. It's just this like thriving atmosphere where people come together, and yeah, it's exciting and it's fun to be a part of, and I really love it, and I think that's kind of like the heart of Houston is just that like diverse culture. Coming to Houston, it's one of the biggest cities in the world, or at least in the US, population-wise, but also size-wise, and I think finding like where you make your home base is important, and I love where I live. The little community, there's everything I need. The shops, food, parks. I have 2 dogs, so dog parks and parks are important, and I think that's also one of the benefits of Houston is just the space and the greenery and all of it, and so I think loving where you live and embracing that and making the most of it is really important. You know, the fate of my career is not sometimes in my hands, but I would love to stay in Houston. I really love it here, what this club is doing, what it's building, what it's about, and just the soccer culture that's around. It's incredible to see when international teams come and play at the stadium, the amount of people and the fan base that is here, and it's just like, whoa. Like there is people from every country and they like fill the stadium. It's actually pretty incredible to see the passion that's there. But I would love to stay. I would love to win some championships. We won the Challenge Cup, but like that's just got a little like thirst in my mouth. I want more. But yeah, hopefully I'm able to stay healthy and play a couple more years and win some trophies. I think the impact of the World Cup is going to be massive. I think everywhere the World Cup goes, it leaves an impact. One, the community here is so soccer hungry. It's insane. And then you bring people from all around the world to come to Houston. They're going to see what it's about and just be, I think, shocked. I think people are like, when they think of Houston, they're like, oh, Houston. But then you come here and you see it and you live it. You're like, oh, I get it. I get why people are here. But I think the lasting impact will be growth of the game, I think from grassroots up. And then, yeah, I think just the continued infrastructure and support behind all that is soccer, from young kids to the professional level. I think it's only going to have positive impacts. It's really touching that they thought of me to name one of the fields after. To be honest, I have spent so many hours on that field, in that area. I went to both the high school and the middle school where the soccer pitch is in between, and you know, growing up there and developing as a kid, like that's a huge reason why I am where I am today, why I've had the career I've been able to have. I remember walking up I literally just lived down the hill, and I still live just not too far away from the field. My family does, and just whenever I had a free chance, just going up the field with my brother, kicking a soccer ball around, local kids, we just like have a little backyard soccer game, so to say. But I think those are some of like my happiest moments of like pure joy and passion for the sport. That's kind of like driven me, and I'll never forget that. And the fact that the community in the city there wants to celebrate the achievements is pretty cool. I've carried them with me, and I'm so proud of where I come from. I wouldn't be who I am without my grassroots. So I just, whenever I go back, I try to give a little bit back to the community. It's hard when you're a full-time professional athlete, but I think the impact you have as a human being in this environment and the platform you have is pretty powerful. So I hope to continue to inspire kids to dream big, whether that's in soccer or anything else, because anything's possible when you put your mind to it. Yeah, so it's definitely a special moment for me and my family.
The American Jewish Committee's Community of Conscience wishes to thank our partners who make America's Table possible. HEB, Garcia Hamilton and Associates, the Houston Chronicle, and KPRC2.
You can support AJC's Community of Conscience by texting AJCHOU to 20222. That's 20222. Your contribution will appear on your mobile phone statement. Tanwir Ahmed was urged by his parents to leave Pakistan for either England or the United States at age 21. He arrived in San Francisco and went to work as a cashier at Jack in the Box. But today, his business, Pack Foods, is the immigrant success story of a man who embraced the American dream.
I was born and raised in Pakistan in a small village closer to the city called Sialkot, Punjab. It was very tough for me because I started working at the age of 10 to pay for my school and even for my meals due to some financial trouble in Pakistan. My parents, they did whatever they could to put us in one of the best schools in the city. Their whole plan was to make sure that we are educated very well, even though there are a lot of, there's a lack of opportunities in Pakistan to get a proper education. When I went to the college, I was given kind of a choice that either I sacrifice my college or at least my brothers go to high school. So I chose to sacrifice my education, at least so my younger brothers, they can go to and finish the high school. And that's when my parents decided for me to take a chance and go abroad. And in 1988, I came to the United States, moved to San Francisco, and that's where my journey started. First job was at a gas station, then I moved to a fast food. Started my career at Jack in the Box, moved my way up from the cashier position. By 1991, I was the general manager at Jack in the Box. I got hired at KFC, and I think that was probably the first best decision that I took. This is where I started growing. In 3 years, I became an area manager. So in 2005, I reached out to the KFC, and they accepted my franchise application. I was given a couple of options, either come to Houston or I go to Atlanta, and this is where I chose to come to Houston. And I think this is where my destiny was. So my first location was open in Spring, Texas in 2006, followed by another location the same year. And then in 2007, I ended up buying the Long John Silver Market in Houston. The main breakthrough in the fast food came in 2011 when I ended up buying El Paso KFC Market, as well as the entire state of Arizona for the KFC market. 2012, I bought Nevada Market. 2014, I got into Taco Bell in the Colorado market. And then in 2016, I bought about 32 more Pizza Hut restaurants in Houston area. So this is the kind of a journey that I had in the fast food. Currently, my plan is to expand even further in the fast food area. It wasn't easy for me from the cashier to become a franchisee. There are a lot of obstacles, there are a lot of hard works, but one thing that I can relate is honesty, honesty, and honesty. When you talk really about an American dream, whoever is watching and listening this, I try to stress more and more is on the hard work, on your integrity, on your loyalty, by being truth teller. If you don't tell the truth to others, how do you expect what goes around comes around? I mean, if you are telling any person something which you have a hidden agenda, you will get back that agenda, and there's no way you can accomplish what you really want to accomplish. In 2018, cricket came into mind, and this is when I really got into the cricket. My belief was God has given me everything. This country has blessed me everything. I got whatever I have, it is because of this country. It's a time for me to pay back to the community. It's time for me to do something for the kids, for the generations to come. And this is how I wanted to build a legacy and leave the legacy behind. And I believe that cricket was the right thing for me to do, something which has not happened in the US. So I was the first one who started working on making true turf pitches, which has not been in the case in the entire United States. There is an opportunity for all of us to make a huge difference. What we see as an immigrant, you may not be able to see by living here, because we do see the true value of the life. We see a true value of what America truly offers to us. Because we are not born with these kind of luxury things. We are not born with these many opportunities. Once you get the opportunities, why not come in? You already made a difference in your life. It's a time for you to make a difference in others. And that is the reason I got involved politically. I started pushing my kids to the political system.
Houston has two Korean communities. One was initially established in the Spring Branch area when Korean immigrants arrived to work in the energy industry. They sought out the neighborhood because of the reputation of the school system. Well, now the younger Korean generation has established roots in Katy and along the energy corridor.
I came to Houston in 1972, that's 51 years ago. At that time, the petrochemical industry, just like now, was booming in the Houston area. I was an engineer by training, so I came to work at Shell Oil Company. So there were many engineers and scientists who came to Houston to work in the petrochemical industry. Also, the medical industry was beginning to boom in Houston, so there were many doctors who came. When I came in '72, there were about 300 Koreans here living in the Houston area. Now there are over 30,000 Koreans in the greater Houston area, so it has expanded a great deal.
It's been really special to be welcomed into this community because it reminds me of growing up and having this same type of dynamic. We always come to this restaurant. It's the best traditional Korean restaurant. I've gotten to know Mrs. Lee. She is awesome. Her staff is really great, and our community really rallies around all of the restaurants here in Long Point.
This restaurant is started to the 1974, and we are most customer due to the like a grandfather, father, grandson. They always come to here.
So we have something going on every day here at the Korean Community Center. We have art classes, singing classes, Korean dance, Latin sports dancing, we have line dancing, so there are quite a few things like many other community centers have. Also, one important thing is we have Korean school here at the community center on Saturdays, and we have about 110 to 120 students enrolled in Korean school, learning Korean language and Korean heritage. And also it is offered to non-Koreans as well.
Education is such a large part of what our culture is around. And so Spring Branch is where a lot of families settled. And eventually, as we grew up and started our own families, Katy was becoming a bigger area in which education was becoming important as well. And so a lot of families started settling out west that way.
I think when you talk about everybody third generation moving to Katy, it's because we can see an assimilation between first, second, and third generation. But keeping our culture and keeping our history alive and keeping us coming back to our roots, like this traditional Korean restaurant with your family, is really special. It's like going to Snappy's in Katy for breakfast with your grandpa. That's the same in our community, but this is significant for us.
70% of Korean populations are now living in Katy. So for convenience for them, a lot of Korean businesses, like such as restaurant owners and spa world, they're starting to looking at the Katy market because that's where the concentration of a Korean population is.
Katy Asiatown is booming right now, and so there's a lot of businesses that are growing out there. We have our H Mart out there, which is a huge grocery store. We have a lot of restaurants in the area, desserts. We have a big spa place out in the Katy area as well.
We immigrated here when I was 15 in 1985. At that time, Korea was not very well known in U.S. Now, K-culture, K-pop, K-food, Koreans are very much out there known entire world.
The Korean kind of popularity that has grown, everybody wants to eat Korean barbecue. And so it's really fun to share that with your coworkers, you know, with people that are coming to visit Houston that don't get this other places, don't get it in West Texas, don't get it necessarily in Austin. So I think that's what's special about Koreatown here.
We host a Korean festival every year around October. We saw about 14 years back how important it was to share the Korean community with the greater Houston public.
The main intention was to bridge the gap between the Korean community and the greater Houston community and be able to offer the best of Korea and showcase that to others that are interested in just learning about Korea. We would always have these elements, but we would have Korean food, cultural shows, we would have Korean martial arts, but then we also had things for Korean Americans and younger Koreans, and the success of the Korean festival was correlated with the rise of the Korean wave and K-pop and Korean dramas and things like that. We consistently have around 20 to 30,000 people, and most of the attendees are non-Koreans that are just interested in about Korean culture.
What's really special is to see the culture really bond us, as in the Korean festival, and sharing that with our neighbors. Being, you know, when I was little, I would dress up in a Korean dress and we'll wave a little South Korean flag, and we would do a parade with all my class. And I think that Katy and Spring Branch is a snapshot of exactly what I experienced when I was young.
A reminder that you can support AJC's Community of Conscience by texting AJCHOU to 20222. Your contribution will appear on your mobile phone statement. On behalf of the American Jewish Committee and KPRC2, we hope you have a happy Thanksgiving weekend and a beautiful holiday season.
The American Jewish Committee's Community of Conscience wishes to thank our partners who make America's Table possible. HEB, Garcia Hamilton and Associates, the Houston Chronicle, and KPRC2.
To learn more about the American Jewish Committee's Community of Conscience, scan the QR code on the screen with your phone's camera or go to actnow.ajc.org.